going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having a great night after that pick 31 in the 2025 NFL Draft. First round, baby. Eagles select Jihaad Campbell. Holy. Well, you saw the post or you saw the live stream. You saw my reaction. We talked about this kid, but before this pick happened, it was like, wait, what the Eagles moved up one spot, gave up pick 164 then, and, not a big deal really, to give up one of those picks. I mean, it is another draft pick, but just like we talked about, these past few weeks, if there is a player and they're sitting a couple places in front of you, you feel, hey, I got to jump up, I got to grab this kid. That is what the Eagles will do. And sure enough, that is exactly what they did. So, they give up one of those second-round picks. It was like the second highest of those 4 fifth-round picks we have. So you give up a fifth-rounder, and you move up one spot here. And you get a guy that they, Howie Roseman just said, as a top 10 guy in this draft. So, yeah, you don't want to let your enemy, the team you just beat in the Super Bowl, get him if you like him that much. And we talked about him. I thought, no way in hell would this kid be available. No way the NFL teams are this stupid that they would let him fall to the Eagles. Well, they did, and you just gave us like a stud. And I told you, in the draft process, kind of like that Zach Bond mold, right? He could play edge. He plays off ball. When they moved him off ball, he did really well. So this is a kid that's got a really bright future, only 21 years old. And in case you missed the live stream, whatever, I like to make these videos, break it down for you quickly. But, only spent 3 years there at Alabama. Again, 21 years old, 6'3", 235. He's got 4.52 speed. That's awesome for a linebacker. And, he's somebody that I think you could see, take it all with a grain of salt. His stats here, his PFF grade, whatever you want to look at. But, 117 tackles, 54 of them were solo, 12 tackles for lost. He had 7 missed. He'll clean some of those things up, and, he'll continue to grow as somebody that just moved to off-ball linebacker. And, last year he played some too. And, I think still very young, still learning the position. But this kid plays all over, man. They had him as the big nickel, doing things. We talked about the similarity, obviously coming from Alabama, that Nick Saban defense, where we're like, how similar these things are to Vic Fangio, and a lot of the concepts where I think you've got yourself another weapon. 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, an interception, 2 passes deflected, fumble recovery. Like, he does a lot. 12 tackles for loss. This dude, he's really exciting. And I think that this is a guy that you just added to a defense with Jalen Carter, Bond, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper, like, when I tell you we're building a dynasty here, I truly mean it, man. And, that is by solidifying these young pieces to be around for a long time. And I just think this dude's a wrecking ball, and his coverage is great. The fact that he plays off ball and edge, that versatility is something you're always looking for. And I mentioned him and Jalen Walker. I just didn't know that, these guys would be available. And as I said, Jihaad Campbell is the better player, in my opinion. I thought he would go, and maybe Jalen Walker would be available. But, boy, was I wrong, and, boy, am I very happy to be wrong. But I think you just got to work on some things, the block shedding, just his hand usage, stuff with his own coverage. He was an edge. So playing a couple years off ball, trying to learn a very intricate defense, and he's going to have another one. And he's going to have to work on some of those pass rush skills. That's why he's not a pass rusher. And he's 235, but can put on weight. He'll be fine. And, I think that's a good size for a linebacker. He's 6'3", dude. And I think he'll bulk out more, and he'll become an effing stud in this league, dude. Him and Bond. You got Dean here, so it's intriguing. I don't know that you don't try to trade Nakobe Dean, do something. And I know he's banged up right now, so you're just hoping he's healthy. But it's a good problem to have. And I think Jihaad Campbell is a stud. So a fantastic pick by Howie. And right here, I just threw him in. I have Dean still here as the starter, but really you should have, I will flip this then. I just kind of did this real quick, but Campbell is really the backup to Bond, who, can do those versatile things. And I think they'll have packages where they can get him in, and we'll be just fine figuring out ways to use him. And if Dean isn't ready, well, I think Campbell will be. And, Trotter will get his chance to compete. And Dallas can't there. But, man, you just got yourself a stud who I think will take that job and will be a part of a very bright future for the Philadelphia Eagles. So fantastic pick by Howie. I'm all about moving up one spot to just make sure, okay, holy shit, this guy fell so far. It's more than worth it. If you think about it, if they think he's a top 10 player and you're saying to yourself, I just traded to pick 10, if you just think about it like that and say, I only had to give up one of my 5th round picks that I have 4 of, that should make you feel pretty good. You just got one of the best defensive players in this draft and could be a generational talent that you just added with Jalen Carter, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Dude, and the list goes Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. Jordan Davis in there. I think Sidney Brown would be great to see him tune things up and be a big part of the future. But a lot of talent here for Vic Fangio to play with and grow this defense, and continue to build what I believe is a dynasty. Let me know if you agree with that. Let me know how you feel about the Jihaad Campbell pick. All I've got for you, I got to get some sleep. I got to get up in a few hours here. So, oh my God, my head hurts. But I love each and every one of you. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe. All that stuff truly does help. Cannot thank you enough for the support. But I'll be back tomorrow with a live stream, a breakdown of the players we draft. Hope to see you then. Hopefully you're ready for a great Friday. But until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith. And this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there. And as always, go Birds!